Lazarus, I'm also going to be able to configure my platform depending on my preferences. To do this, I would come up here to the red wand where we can see is labeled preferences. Once I click it, we will have a pull-out menu. Now, if I click the wrench, I'm going to be able to see here all of my preferences. So, first thing that we can do is we can decide whether we want our main menu collapsed or not. For example, if I turn off this view, we can see here that I have my main menu opened. Another default we can apply is the duration default. So for example, if I know that my class is 50 minutes long, I can automatically set my default for 50 minutes. That means that anything I do within here and change within my classroom will be automatically applied for those 50 minutes. Now, if I come back here to my little red wand and under my wrench, I can see here the buttons that are also found above my devices. I can choose which ones I want to see or which ones I want to hide depending on my preferences and which I use most. We will go more into depth about each of these in other videos, but for now, we can choose which ones we want to allow or not. For example, if I don't tend to send messages, I can turn this off. If I don't tend to lock my students' devices, I can turn it off here, and we can see that it has been moved. I can also go into the visualization of the actual devices. So for example, right now, we have the opacity turned off. This means that all my students' devices have the same intensity, but if I turn this on, this means that when it reloads, the devices that are not connected will be more opaque compared to the ones that are. So we can see here that none of our devices are currently online, which is why they have an opaque color instead of being as intense as they were before. We can also see that we have other modes when it comes to visualization. So for example, we can hide the devices that are disconnected. We can show pinned thumbnails in gray, which means that old images will be gray and the recent ones will be in color. Or we can also show push pin thumbnails when opening groups. So this means that when we enable it, the thumbnails will be displayed automatically. Otherwise, we would have to click on them and the push button to be able to see what they've been doing. And this is how you can configure your IMT Lazarus workspace to your preferences.